Have you ever really stopped and thought about the hidden logic that drives your choices at the store? Why you pick one thing over another? It can feel kind of random, but economists have built this surprisingly elegant model for it. And today, we're going to unpack that logic behind all our everyday decisions.
Think about it like this. You've got $20 for lunch. Are you getting pizza, a sandwich, tacos? What's the mental math going on in your head when you make that call? This really simple question, believe it or not, is the key to this whole thing.
So here's the game plan. We're going to break this down into 6 parts. We'll start with the basic problem of choice. Then we'll figure out how to map what we want versus what we can actually afford. Then we'll find that sweet spot where desire meets reality, see what happens when prices suddenly change, and finally pull it all together to understand the core logic of demand.
All right, first up, the everyday choice problem. See, at the heart of this entire theory is a tension that every single one of us deals with daily. It's that classic struggle between all the things we want and what our wallet will actually allow.
And really, it all just boils down to this one word, scarcity. We have endless wants, but we have limited resources, money, time, energy. So this isn't just some abstract concept for a textbook. It's a real framework for understanding a fundamental part of being human.
Okay, so how on earth do you model something as personal and fuzzy as wanting something? Well, economists have a clever way of doing it. They start by simplifying our preferences down to 2 really powerful and honestly very intuitive rules. The first rule has a bit of a fancy name, monotonicity, but don't let that fool you. All it means is that basically more is better, right? If I offer you 1 slice of pizza or 2 slices for the exact same price, which is 0, you're going to take the 2 slices every time. It's as simple as that. Now, the second big idea is called convexity. And this one just says that we tend to like variety. We prefer a balanced mix over having a ton of one thing and none of another. You'd probably be happier with, say, half a pizza and a few wings than you would with just a giant mountain of wings and absolutely no pizza. We like averages more than extremes. This farmer example makes that idea of convexity perfectly clear. Take a look at option A and option B. Those are the extremes, right? All corn or all soybeans? The model predicts that the farmer would almost always be happier with option C, that nice, balanced mix. It's the perfect way to see how we instinctively value that middle ground. Now, to connect all these ideas, economists use a concept called utility. But here's the really important thing to get. Utility is not some real, measurable unit of happiness. It's just a tool, like a score in a video game. It's a useful fiction that lets us rank our choices from best to worst. So in our farmer example, option C would get the highest utility score. That's all it is. Okay, so we've got a handle on our desires. We've mapped them out. Now it's time to get real and face the second, much more concrete part of this puzzle, the budget. I love this analogy of a financial fence. Your income, combined with the prices of things, creates this hard boundary. You can pick any combination of stuff you want inside that fence, but you just can't jump over it. It is the absolute limit. It's where I want runs smack into I can't afford. And this is where it all comes together. This is the main event. We have our map of what we want, our preferences, and we have our fence, our budget. Now we put those 2 things together to find the single best, optimal choice. So what's the goal here? Well, it's totally logical. You want to get to the highest level of satisfaction, the most utility you possibly can, given the cash you have. You want to push right up against that financial fence to get the absolute most bang for your buck. So where is that perfect sweet spot? Well, it's the exact point where your personal trade-off rate, what you are willing to trade, perfectly aligns with the market's trade-off rate, which is just the ratio of the prices. Think of it this way. The best choice happens when your gut feeling of, yeah, I'd totally give up 1 taco to get 2 more slices of pizza, lines up perfectly with the prices on the menu that say, hey, 1 taco costs the same as 2 slices of pizza. It's that moment of perfect equilibrium. Okay, but the world isn't static, right? Prices change all the time. And this is where this model gets really cool and powerful. Let's see how our best choice adapts when the world around us shifts. So let's say the price of tacos suddenly drops. 2 things happen at the exact same time. First, you get the substitution effect. Your inner bargain hunter kicks in because tacos are now a way better deal than pizza, so you naturally start swapping towards them. But second, you also get the income effect. Because tacos are cheaper, that same $20 in your pocket can suddenly buy more stuff. You feel richer, and that newfound purchasing power can also change what you decide to buy.
And yep, there's a formal name for breaking this down: the Slutsky equation. It sounds complicated, but it's just the mathematical rule that proves that the total change in your behavior is always the sum of that bargain hunter substitution effect and that feeling richer income effect.
So we've gone through all this theory. What's the big takeaway? Why does building this whole model of choice actually matter in the real world?
Well, one reason this framework is so powerful is its flexibility. You can look at the exact same problem from two different angles. You can ask, given my budget, how can I get the most happiness? Or you can flip it and ask, to reach this specific level of happiness, what's the absolute least I have to spend? They're just two sides of the same logical coin.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. Here are the biggest takeaways. First, our choices are always a balancing act between what we want, our utility, and what we can afford, our budget. Second, that best choice happens where our personal willingness to trade matches the market price. Third, remember that any price change has those two hidden effects, the substitution effect and the income effect. And maybe most importantly, this isn't just a nice story. It actually gives us predictions about human behavior that we can go out and test with real data.
And that leaves us with one last pretty deep thought to chew on. This whole model is obviously a simplification of reality. But if this simple logic of maximizing our utility inside a budget can explain so much of our real-world behavior, what does that tell us about free will, about marketing, and about the deep psychological drivers behind why we buy what we buy? It kind of suggests that underneath all the noise, there's a surprisingly predictable logic running the show.